We're now moving to our third segment, which is Ecosphere in Crisis. And I want to introduce on stage Meirav, the founder and CEO of enVerid. Not
close enough.
Close enough. And Professor Joe Allen from Harvard University to share some data on what we breathe and what it means for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to start by asking you a question. Why are we ignoring the 90%? And there's two parts to this. The first is we spend 90% of our time indoors. We are an indoor species. Yet if you look at the news today, or in fact any day, you're likely to see a story about outdoor air pollution. The dirty secret of outdoor air pollution is that it penetrates indoors, and the majority of your exposure to outdoor air pollution can actually occur indoors. We have all sorts of protections for outdoor air quality. We don't have similar protections for indoor air quality. To think about this another way, take your age and multiply it by 0.9. That's how many years you've lived indoors. So I'll do the math for you. If we're lucky enough to live until we're 80, we'll have spent 72 years of our life indoors. Thinking of it this way, it becomes obvious and even quite intuitive that the indoor environment has an outsized impact on our health. So much so that the person who manages your building has a greater impact on your health than your doctor. It's true. Second part of the 90% we're ignoring is the true cost of operating our businesses, and that's the people inside of our buildings. Their salaries, their benefits. Here again, we focus on a fraction of that cost. In fact, the entire green building movement was built over 20 years chasing just a fraction of that 10%. The 1% costs of our buildings of energy, waste, and water, all critically important, but missing this giant opportunity on the other side of the ledger, and that's focusing on the health of people indoors. I'll ask you another set of questions. Think about how you know what you know about healthy living, and I mean the basics. How do you know that exercise is good for you? How do you know what a healthy meal looks like? How do you know that air pollution is bad for you? These are obvious, we all know this. And I'd argue that we know these things from the great human epidemiological cohort studies, like the Nurses' Health Study, the Framingham Heart Study, the Harvard 6 Cities Air Pollution Study, that all follow many people for long durations of time. They have that feature in common, but they have another feature in common. Not one of them talks about buildings, where we spend all of our time. So my team at Harvard is seeking to address this. We've launched a global study of people in buildings. We're now in 7 countries, and we've used new or leveraged new technologies to get us there. We have deployed real-time environmental quality sensors. We've built what we call the 4Health research platform, and we've integrated that with smart devices so we can track people in buildings and look at things like their cognitive function performance as a proxy for productivity. And I'll share with you some of the results just really quickly of an early version of the study. In a double-blinded study, we found that when people spent time in an optimized indoor environment, we saw significant increases in their decision-making performance, their higher-order cognitive function. These are striking results because all we did was change 3 things. We increased the amount of fresh outdoor air coming in, we lowered the concentration of carbon dioxide, and we lowered the concentration of typical chemicals in that space. Even more striking are the economics around this. What does it cost to obtain this optimized indoor environment? We estimated that it's on the order of $40 per person per year. The benefits, on the order of $6,000 to $7,000 per person per year. Now, I'm going to close here by talking about something that I also get asked this question. What else matters for health indoors besides ventilation, carbon dioxide, and chemicals? Well, my team has released a report we call the 9 Foundations of a Healthy Building, based on 40 years of the scientific evidence that shows how we can optimize or leverage our buildings for better health. And because I'm a professor, before I turn it over to Udi, I have to end, I think, with a big picture comment. You know, I see 2 forces that are colliding. Rapid population growth and rapid urbanization. We're on a planet headed towards 9 billion people, and for the first time in history, more of us live in cities than do not. To put that in context, take what's happening in India, where 350 million people are projected to live in cities by 2050. That's the equivalent of adding a city the size of Tel Aviv every 2 weeks from today for the next 30 years. This is creating what is perhaps the greatest health and business opportunity of our lifetime, and that's our buildings. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. So the problem with maintaining indoor air quality is that there's sources of indoor pollutants in every building, starting with the actual human occupants. So how do you, and unless you address those, their levels will increase, and that's the essence of poor indoor air quality. What buildings do traditionally is replace the indoor air with air from the outside by streaming outside air through the air conditioning systems. This is not a very good idea. If you think about it, the outside air is hot and humid, and you're flowing it into the building. It's like trying to air condition your car or your home with the windows down. And not only is it wasting a lot of energy, it requires oversized air conditioners to deal with this huge heat load. And to top it off, what you're bringing is not fresh air, it's outside air with all the outdoor pollutants. And all that money is spent on bringing bad air into the building. So what's the choice? This is where enVerid, my company, came in, and we said there's got to be a better solution. We came up with what we call the HLR. It's essentially a sophisticated but also very cost-effective air cleaning technology, and it eliminates the need for outside air as the way to maintain indoor air quality. It's a modular solution. It goes into, here we go, into any kind of building. We've deployed hundreds of these around the world already, and I envision a future where this will be a standard for all buildings. It brings a lot, hold on. I'm going to skip this slide just for the interest of time. The benefits are actually quite remarkable. Obviously, we save a lot of energy, and the numbers are typically 20, 30, sometimes 40% of the total energy of the air conditioner. But in addition to that, we can downsize the air conditioners, and that saves you money in the construction and the capital expenditures for the building. So you got this dual benefit, and on top of that, you end up with better indoor air quality. All this is spelling out a massive change in how air conditioning systems are designed, and we're seeing now a groundswell of support from public policy. Utility companies, the changes in building ventilation codes, these are all happening now as a result of this type of game-changing technology. I'll just finish off by saying that as perhaps the strongest indication that the industry is ready for this kind of revolution, just a few weeks ago, we won the Product of the Year at the AHR show. Thank you, thank you. This is the global umbrella organization for the entire HVAC industry. We have a booth here downstairs, booth number 8. Come visit us. We'll be here all day and happy to tell you more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Thank you for being with us.